Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to Layers of Truth, True Crime Collective. Glad you are with us. And we have a great show lined up for you. We're going to be talking about Diddy.
Hi, I'm Julie.
Hi, I'm Mafuz.
Glad you know. I'm hearing an echo. Are y'all hearing an echo?
No, I don't hear one.
No?
Could you repeat that again, please?
Okay. I think that took care of it. I was hearing myself on YouTube and on here, so. All right, we talked a lot last week about Chanel Banks, and we had a good conversation. And I was really surprised when Danielle, the cousin of Chanel, commented several times on our video, and I've asked her to come on our show. She's going to be on next week, so that'll be a great follow up on that.
Awesome.
But today we're talking about Diddy. So, Diddy or didn't he? Sounds like he did and did it a lot.
No kidding.
Yeah, so he's got all kinds of charges now. What is it? Assault, sex trafficking, and harassment, and blackmail, and
Witness tampering.
witness tampering, and suspicion, and a few murders. But
Yeah,
a lot of that's alleged, so we'll throw that out there. Uh, but it kind of looks like he's going to be in jail for a long time, if not forever.
You know, some people think money can buy our freedom, but that's not always the case. Because he's certainly been trying to buy his free time at home during the court proceedings. But
Yeah,
I'm glad to see that they're treating him like they would any other criminal and making him stay in there.
for, for sure, for sure. Like he was, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he tried getting out on bail at least 3 times, but he was denied each time.
exactly. Exactly. Yeah, this last time he even agreed to put up what was it, $50 million or something like that.
Yeah, and he agreed to not have his cell phone, that he wouldn't
Yeah.
have a phone. And he said they could put cameras in to watch him.
Yeah.
But
So it looks like maybe the judge wasn't stupid enough to fall for all that, right?
yep.
No kidding.
Yeah. Would you trust Diddy if he promised to be nice?
No way.
No, he's got too many contacts, too many people at his right hand that could get him right up out of the country. You
Yeah,
know, he could go live on the run for years.
exactly.
And
Exactly. He may own a few islands out somewhere, another middle of the ocean or another country.
oh yeah, he's got a lot of resources, and I
Yeah.
think realize that. They realize that, he's got so much at his disposal that he could just disappear and, then they'd look stupid and they really don't want that.
Yeah.
So I think they're looking from both sides of the fence.
Yeah. And they're going to charge him with a lot more things than they can actually prove, so that leave room for plea bargaining and all that stuff.
Mhm. Yeah. Plea deal. Yeah. We'll charge you with all of this and we'll drop all of this. But
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But I mean, it doesn't matter. I don't think he's going to see the light of day.
Yeah.
Hopefully not.
Yeah. If he gets out, a lot of people are going to have some accidents,
Kidding.
going to turn up dead. Uh, I seen something on another YouTube channel where Diddy's son, I think his name is Christian, Diddy allegedly called him from jail using another inmate's phone and told his son to dig up a lot of dirt on the people that were testifying about him.
Yeah. I mean, if you make the witnesses look bad in the eyes of the
Yeah.
jury, you know, if they're not, if they, let's make them look uncredible. You know what I mean? So yeah,
Yeah.
I can see doing that, you
Yeah.
know. So,
Have you been watching any of the videos from any of the victims, alleged victims?
no, not really. I have not.
I
Um,
have not either.
Okay, well, there's a lot of them on YouTube if y'all ever want to look into that. Jaguar Wright has been saying a lot. Y'all recognize that name?
No.
no, tell us what is she saying?
She's a hip hop singer. So she's been around for a long time. She's famous and I guess a millionaire, and she's been to Diddy parties and she knows a lot of the same people that Diddy knows, and she has said a lot, a lot. She's
Uh,
talked about the underground parties, the tunnels, and people being forced to do things they don't want to do.
it sounds so Hollywood and so made up and so just crazy, but yet it's a reality. It
Yeah,
really does happen, and it is happening, you know. And it's like I'm just really grateful that they caught him. I mean, how did they catch him, anyways? What did he do to raise all the red flags for them to get him? Does
I'm
anybody?
not sure. That's a good question. I know that Jaguar Wright was saying a lot about him before the bust, so maybe she stirred something up. I don't know.
I'm
I'm
thinking ratted him out. He probably had some people rat him out.
let's see. Now he's got a set. Didn't he have one or two lawsuits that were going on already before this? I know he settled the one with Cassie, right?
Yeah, I think they were harassment suits or sexual harassments, weren't they?
Well, and plus, remember we saw a couple years ago on TV where he was beating her and kicking her out in the hallway of a hotel.
Yep, yep.
So who knows what all he's done to her in private.
Oh yeah. She was trying, you know, when you have a person of power like P. Diddy, because he has a lot of power, he did, not anymore, but he had a lot of power and he had a lot of money. And when you're abused by a person like that, you feel like there's no way out because they are in an upper position and there's nothing you can do from below. So you just go along with it and you continue to stay and stick with that person in the abusive relationship because there's fear of trying to get out because this person can dominate and control other people that can also mess with your life because they are that powerful.
Yeah,
So, and maybe, you know, I don't know, but maybe she just got to the point where she had enough and she was willing to take a risk and she's putting some stuff out there to get things rolling. You know, I don't know. I'm just saying that's
yeah,
a possibility, you know. Um, sometimes victims take quite a while to jump back up and get out there like they should, out of fear. But once they do, boy, is it freeing.
yeah. I'm going to pull something up here just a few notes that I had. Maybe I can tell you about the other cases that were. Let's see here.
The one with his the one he had a long-term relationship with, Cassie Ventura, is that one of them?
Yeah, that's the one he settled. They settled that. He probably gave her several million. I don't know.
Right.
Okay, he has one active with Little John Jones or something like that. No, Little Rod Jones. Have y'all heard of him?
Have
Uh-uh.
not.
He's a record producer. His name is Rodney Jones. They called him Little Rod.
Oh.
Yes, he has unleashed a 105-page legal assault,
Yes.
alleging that Diddy orchestrates a criminal racketeering empire. According to Jones, Combs lured him into a toxic world in 2022 under the guise of producing music, but quickly turned him into a pawn in an empire of vice. Jones alleges Diddy tasked him with procuring drugs like ecstasy, GHB. I don't know what GHB is. Do you?
It's like a date rape drug, isn't it?
I don't know. Maybe. And cocaine, arranging sex workers, and even recording coerced sexual acts. One particularly disturbing claim involves Combs allegedly forcing women to consuming Deleon liquor.
I just looked it up. GHB is indeed a date rape drug.
Is that what it is? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we just learned something then, didn't we?
Yeah.
We just learned something. All right, looks like we got somebody else coming in. Noor, how are you? Are you there? Well, she was there and she's gone. Okay, where was I? Oh, yeah. Let's see. Jones paints a sinister picture of Combs as a tyrannical figure. Alleging threats of violence, sexual harassment, and a surreal work environment where the music mogul paraded around naked. One incident allegedly involved Jones being abandoned on a yacht studio with actor Cuba Gooding Jr., who he claims sexually assaulted him. So,
Oh,
He's saying Cuba Gooding Jr. assaulted him.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Cuba was sexually assaulting Jones apparently.
Huh.
Now, Diddy's legal team has dismissed Jones's claims as shameless cash grab. Says we have indisputable proof that these accusations are fabricated. Attorney Sean Hawley declared, accusing Jones of concocting a smear campaign. So, what y'all think? Is he getting smeared?
No,
no.
It's somebody that much. I mean, he's obviously, like I said earlier, he's done so many things that he's gotten caught for a few now. And if he were to be caught for everything he's done, it'd be, I mean, it's ridiculous the amount of things we don't get caught for that we do.
Yeah.
100%.
So I'm sure there are things that he hasn't even been brought up on charges for that will come out later. You know, because everything always comes out in the wash.
I'm saying that, yeah, a lot of people are going to come out that haven't come out yet. You know, I can't wait to hear from J-Lo if we ever do.
Is that the sister of Chanel Banks?
Do I know?
Sorry. Who is Jayla?
Is that the famous singer J Lo?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
She's probably not going to come out and say anything for the simple fact that she doesn't want to look bad in the eyes of her fans and everybody. So she's probably just going to stand back and be quiet. I would.
Makes sense.
How many years were they together? At least 10, 15 years, wasn't it? Something like that.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to lose face though. I would because they'd be like, "You were with him for that long, and this was going on. What's the matter with you?" And it might make her accountable.
Yeah,
She's there during all this stuff. She's accountable.
yeah. And one of these witnesses that have been talking on YouTube has claimed that he made everybody that attended his freak-offs or freak-outs or whatever they're called sign an NDA, non-disclosure agreement, not to talk for at least 20 years after he dies.
Wow.
If they're committing crimes and it's criminal, that NDA goes right out the window because you can't contract to be a criminal.
Okay. Okay.
So signing a non-disclaimer thing, and then you're committing crimes while you're doing no, no. It makes that agreement just null and void.
Yeah. Well, that's good to hear. Because have y'all heard of, see, her last name is Carter, Amy Carter, or something like that, has been doing a lot of talking about Diddy. She's apparently a victim. She is a daughter of Tupac. Remember Tupac who got
Yeah.
murdered
Yeah,
mysteriously?
yeah.
She was a daughter of Tupac.
Interesting. So I know that Tupac's rival, Big E, he was bought into the music industry by Diddy,
Yeah, they were really tight at one time.
for sure.
But then something happened and they had a falling out.
Yeah.
And Tupac ended up dead. I don't know how long it was later, but he eventually ended up dead. So,
Yeah.
Did they ever find out who killed him?
They did not.
yeah.
Huh. Well,
And, there has been quite a few people that have been involved with Diddy over the years that have mysteriously died of pneumonia. And somebody said something about that on a video the other day that some kind of drug that they can use that causes pneumonia or at least pneumonia symptoms. And it looks like you die of pneumonia. Now, I don't know how much that is true, but that's interesting.
it is interesting. I'm sure he has played the role in several deaths. I can't say who and I can't say how,
Yeah.
but with everything he was doing, and even if it was accidental by just distributing the drugs that he was distributing, you know, um, his parties, I'm sure, were very full of a lot of illegal drugs that were, you know,
Yeah, there's who knows how many drugs out there they can possibly use. And they're saying, a lot of the witnesses are saying that at a certain time of the night, they would lock all the doors until they wouldn't let anybody leave. And some of these women that were being coerced and drugged and things done to them, ungodly things, were they could leave, even if they wanted to. Uh, and they was allegedly spiking all the liquor with some kind of drug that as soon as people took a drink of liquor, they were just out of it. They
that's
didn't
probably
know.
the date rape drug,
Probably.
because
So there was a lot of things going on, that people couldn't talk about if they wanted to. So who knows what all's going to come out of this?
I would really like to be a fly in that courtroom.
Yeah.
I really would. I'd
Yeah.
like to be there just to listen.
Well, the trial is supposed to start, I think it's May the 5th.
Is it televised?
That's a good question. I hope so.
Yeah, that would be good because it'd be good for us to watch that if it's televised, to watch the trial and everything, and then come back and talk about the things that we assumed
Yeah.
and that we were right about that we assumed, and then the things that we were kind of like wrong about. Take our accountability spot right there but I think that would be good. So if it's televised, I'm definitely going to watch it.
Oh, yeah, that'll be a big hit.
Yep. Another O.J. Simpson.
I'm sure if any Politan would try to get it, on court TV.
Oh, I'm actually reading right now. So, um, in 2009, the Los Angeles Times newspaper, they claimed that that Biggie and Diddy, they actually orchestrated the shooting of Tupac in 1994. So like Tupac was killed in 1996, but he was shot 2 years before and robbed in 1994. And the Los Angeles Times, they claimed that this happened, and they substantiated the claim with supposed FBI documents.
Uh-huh.
So I bet you he did get him later. Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I would not be surprised if like there have been numerous theories over the years about who killed both Biggie and Tupac, but I honestly would not be surprised if Diddy was behind both of them.
Yeah.
I agree with you on that.
Yeah. Here's something else about the some civil suits are currently going on. One plaintiff alleges that Diddy hosted private parties under the guise of professional events, only to coerce attendees into compromising situations. Another suit claims that Combs groomed underage girls in his orbit, luring them with promises of fame while subjecting them to exploitation. No surprise there, right?
No, none at all.
Not at all.
Apparently, he did that kind of thing with Justin Bieber.
Yeah, I heard about that too.
From what I've read and what I've heard, Justin Bieber's mother even allowed Justin to live with Diddy for a time when he was a child.
Yeah, Justin Bieber's mom, she herself, she has like I remember reading on her in the past. She has a ton of issues. She was raped a ton as a child, and I believe I read that she may have Stockholm syndrome, and and she just seemed like a careless person somewhat. So this does not surprise me.
Yeah. He was supposedly Bieber's mentor in the industry. You know,
Right.
apparently that's how he got a lot of people in his dark web. And Bieber, you know, he made it big.
For sure.
He's been a messed up kid ever since. I mean, he's had a lot of
1000%.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure a bunch of stuff happened to him while he was with P. Diddy and all that went on that he hasn't brought to the surface that he's still trying to deal with, you know?
Yeah.
1000%.
And until he deals with those things, he's gonna end up going way downhill. He doesn't face it and step up, and hopefully he'll get it together enough to testify against P. Diddy on some of the things that he. I know P. Diddy did some things to him, and he
Yeah.
had.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, there's lots of pictures online of Diddy with Bieber when he was a kid, and you know he's got his arms around him, and you know, and it doesn't look like a fatherly kind of thing, you know.
No kidding.
Yeah, so everything about this case is just evil, you know.
Definitely is.
This man is like you cannot get more evil than this man.
Yeah. And the sad part is there's plenty more Diddy's out there.
Oh, you're right about that.
Yeah. And y'all know who Clive Davis is?
I do not.
He's a big time movie producer, music producer, and I think he's in his 90s now. But I mean, he's been in the Hollywood scene for decades. I mean, he's made a lot of stars. And from what I've heard, he has some connections also, and he might even been the one that got Diddy into it.
Interesting.
So who knows? I've heard a lot of big names that have come up. Let's see, Bill Cosby. That's no surprise there.
Yeah.
Weinstein. That's no surprise. R. Kelly, wasn't that a rapper? R. Kelly, I think he done
Yeah.
something similar, didn't he, with
Yeah.
underage girls, I think.
Yeah, he did some really messed up stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I think R. Kelly and Weinstein are both in jail now. And do y'all remember Shine?
Could you pronounce that name again?
Shine. I don't know what his real name is. Shine is what they called him. Do you remember back several years ago when there was a scuffle at a hotel and the lady got shot? Do you remember that?
I think I heard about that.
She's been testifying a lot, talking a lot on YouTube. She got shot in the face, and she says that Diddy shot her, but then Shine took the credit for it, the blame for it. He spent time in prison. He's out now, and he's a politician in Belize, I think it is.
Interesting.
But Diddy has apparently bragged about doing the shooting, allegedly, and Shine says he did it. And the lady that got shot says that Diddy did it also. So, yeah. But I'm surprised she's even alive.
Yeah. I think one of the reasons that like P. Diddy is the way he is and who he is because he obviously had some trauma happen to him as a child, things that were happening in his upbringing that were not healthy and not good. And that doesn't justify his actions and behaviors now.
Absolutely. I was thinking the exact same thing, that like there are tons of people who experience horrible things when they're younger, and then when they're older, they're just naturally messed up because of what happened when they're younger. But like the thing is, when you're of age, like when you're an adult, you have the right state of mind to know what is right and what is wrong. Like any bad thing you do is not an excuse to. It's not an excuse.
Right,
Yeah.
right. You got to be accountable for your actions when you become an adult.
Absolutely.
Not be like, well, I was hurt as a child, and because this happened to me, I'm doing this to this person. You know what? Just because somebody hurt me as a child doesn't mean I have the right to go and hurt a child as I'm an adult, go and hurt another child. Because it happened to me. So, it's, a lot of things happen to us, and a lot of us go through things, but and then the things that happen to us, and then all of a sudden you get this money and you get this power and all this stuff, and that starts feeding your ego, and you believe that you're above reproach, you're above everybody else, and you can do whatever you want to do regardless, because look at who I am. I'm special, I'm important. When really, you know what, you are just a human being making a bunch of poor choices, hurting people, and you don't deserve to be put out on bail so you could stay in the comfort of your own home. You deserve to be right where you are, having your little meals on your plastic trays and your little orange jumper with all your little buddy friends in there, because that's what you earned.
Absolutely. I could not have said that better myself. And like I'd like to reiterate what we were all saying before, that I am so glad he is now being allowed bail. He already tried getting released he already tried getting out on bail 3 times, and luckily, thank God, he was denied.
Yeah. Yeah, we know good and well he would definitely do a whole lot of intimidating, if not totally silencing forever a few people.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. And I am sure that he's trying to whisper in people's ears in there to do his bidding, and oh, you're getting out and da da da. And so he's whispering in people's ears, and what's going to happen? He's going to whisper in a few ears, and those ears are going to leak right to the district attorney.
Yeah.
And so many people you see get caught up like that because they're stupid, by trusting another inmate, to try and help them out, when, in reality, I mean, some of them think about it, they want the money. Yeah, yeah. But then if they really think about it, they go to the DA and they get a better deal anyway. They get freedom.
Yeah, exactly.
I think the biggest thing he has to worry about is the sex trafficking charges. Wouldn't you all agree?
Yeah.
Yeah, those are big time charges.
Yeah. and that's federal, and that's a whole lot of people saying a whole lot of things about how they were drugged and raped and everything when they were children. There's one girl, this Carter girl that I mentioned, Allie, I think's her first name, Allie Carter. And she's saying that when she was 13, that she was at the parties, and I'm not sure how, I don't remember how she ended up there, but they did all kinds of things to her and drugged her and, done all kinds of things. And watching her videos is really, really disturbing because she is, bless her heart, she is one messed up lady. I think she's in her 30s now.
Oh
But
yeah, it does, it messes you up.
yeah, she's a basket case. And I'm sure her life is in danger just by talking like she's doing it. So, she just needs to tell her story, I guess. So,
That's why it's important for people to tell their stories, is
yeah,
because when we tell our story, it will help to stop some of the things that are happening and that's going on, and it also helps to heal us on the inside by sharing what has happened to us.
yeah,
And that's what it's all about. Is you know I don't know what it's
yeah,
all about. I got lost there for a minute, but yeah, and P Diddy, he's got a story, and he's gonna have a Lifetime television for women movie, you know, at some point. And but I'm hoping that he stays where he's at for eternity. And it's
yeah.
this life.
And the things that he apparently has done, this isn't just lately. He's been doing this for decades.
and,
Yeah,
and the stuff's just coming out now. That's the crazy part.
yeah, yeah. I think a lot of, well, not a lot of it maybe, but some of it at least is people doing the Me Too thing. They're just wanting some publicity, wanting to be part
Yeah,
of it. That's got to be with some of it.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. And his attorney, of course, he has client attorney privilege, so the law can't don't know what he's talking about. But there's nothing stopping this attorney on the outside to passing messages along for Diddy. You know, and depending on how honest he is or how deep he's in, if he's involved in all the shenanigans, maybe he's telling other people on the outside to dig up dirt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's possible. And I can't remember who his attorney is, but I'm sure he's a high profile, high dollar attorney.
Oh yeah, he's probably got more than one attorney.
He probably has a team. Yeah.
He has a team of attorneys, and he thinks his money's going to buy him out of this, but you know
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
It's not.
There's even allegations that Obama was involved with Diddy
I,
sexually.
I have not heard that.
Yeah.
I haven't heard that. That would
There's some people alleging that. Now, I don't know if there's anything to it or not, but that's what some people are saying. And I'm
hmm,
talking about Barack, not Michelle. I
that
don't
no, that'd be something. That'd be something. You know. But then again, I mean, maybe he did have like maybe a small relationship with him, but it doesn't mean that he was involved in the bad stuff.
know.
Doesn't have to mean that, he was dirty like P. Diddy, you know. It's like I worked for an attorney one time, and I didn't know he was, doing securities fraud, and I didn't know he was laundering money, and I didn't know he was doing these things. I just worked for him. I did other things. He did those things, and
Yeah.
he went down for it. But I was still associated with him because I worked for him, and so um, just because maybe if he did have a relationship, maybe it was just a dinner and a drink and a casual, talk type thing, politic thing, and that was it. But
Yeah.
again, people, you just don't know. You just don't know what people are capable of,
Yeah.
what they do.
There has been a lot of pictures that come out over the years of Oprah being at his parties.
That's possible.
And they are rumors that she has left the country. I don't know if that's true or not.
I've heard rumors of several big people leaving the country.
Well, some of them said they was leaving if Trump got reelected. So, that may have something to do with some of them leaving.
Yeah, that.
Ellen DeGeneres has allegedly left the country.
Yeah, she had her own issues though.
Yeah, and didn't her ex and somebody end up dead not long ago?
No, I don't know. I didn't know.
I think so. That's what I've heard, and I think she has some connection. Well, I know that Diddy has been on Ellen's show. I know
Oh,
that for a fact. That doesn't mean she's involved with all this crazy stuff. But I know he's been on her show at least once. I don't know how many times.
I think guilt by association is not fair. I mean, because some
Yeah,
people see and
right,
don't know what the other person's really up to.
right. But if you have pictures of being at his parties, now that's a little
Yeah,
bit different.
yeah, because if you're at the parties.
Yeah. But then there apparently were levels of his parties. He would have parties that started early in the evening, and that lasts for a couple hours, and it was like a family thing. People brought their kids. And then he would make an announcement a couple hours after that and say, well, it's time for all the kids to leave. And
Except for the
everyone
ones
had
we
to
want to torture, right?
say that again.
Except for the ones we want to do bad things to, right?
Yeah, something like that. They probably don't say it like that, but everybody there knows what it means. And then apparently there was several different rooms you could go in, depending on what your tastes were, your kinks or whatever. And some of the parties lasted on up to 5 a.m. from what I've heard. So
Wow.
who knows? And I think y'all probably have heard about a lot of, they found thousands of bottles of baby oil. Have y'all heard that?
Yeah, I heard
Yeah,
about that.
about that. Yeah, lots of baby oil. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay.
It don't take a lot of imagination to figure that one out, does it?
Nope.
Nope, not at all.
Yeah. Uh, but I think the sex trafficking thing is going to be the hardest one to beat.
Yeah, especially because they're minors. When minors are involved, that's when they start really hard on you and coming down really hard
Yeah.
because minors don't know how to make intelligence intelligent decisions, and what they might think is okay and fun at the start, then it turns dastardly for them because of these adults that are doing these wrong, inappropriate things. So they steal the innocence from these children, you
Yeah.
know, and that's right there. When an adult comes along and wants to steal a child's innocence, they need to be punished because
Yeah.
they'll never get that innocence back. It's gone. Once it's gone, it's gone.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
the kid is scarred for life. You
yeah,
know.
yeah, and it takes a lot of work to get through that trauma.
Yeah.
A lot of counseling, a lot of it leads to drug addiction. It leads to alcoholism. It leads to other bad choices and decisions because you can't deal with what you've got going on here. So you try and cover it all up with all these drugs and all this alcohol to numb those pains and feelings because you don't know what to do with it because you're just a kid. And so then you're a kid that became addicted to all these things and you grow into this adult taking that addiction with you and that trauma. And sometimes it takes years before you find the opportunity to get recovery and then deal with and process all that garbage and then have some sort of normal life later.
Yeah. And some people commit suicide over it.
I've attempted it 5 times, 5 times, and because I had so much past trauma and I had the addiction. I had all these things I just mentioned. And so, yes, I did try and do that. And, and so I think that when you get this person, P. Diddy, right here, that was doing these things, like reaching out like this, like a monster, doing these things to all these children, he needs to pay for it because they're going to struggle with it for their entire life, and eventually they're going to get to the point where they find recovery and they find hope and they find the desire to change who and what they thought they were and become what they are. And that's somebody special, but this person here, there's no chance for them to make themselves any better because they're the destroyer. And once the destroyer destroys those young children, they need to be put down.
So, what do you think the ramifications of this will be for the music industry? Do you think it's going to have any effect on it?
I'm hoping that with the music industry that they'll start watching it more, start having put some regulations in there. I don't know what kind of regulations, but regulate it better to where they can know what's going on and what's happening. And I mean, some of the deals I think people make are not good deals, and they're coveting things and they're hiding things. So there's got to be some kind of, you know, there's got to be a watchman somewhere.
But there's a lot of people saying that none of this was a secret in Hollywood, that these kind of things have been going on for decades and they were just, everybody knew it, but they just didn't talk about it.
It's true. It's true. I mean, it's all this stuff is going. I mean, Elvis was an addict. He died of an overdose on his toilet because he was on drugs. So I'm sure he was at many parties partying up like he was partying, and I mean all these other people. John Belushi, he died of a fatal injection doing a speedball, and it's like these drugs are in all these Hollywood people, and they're partying together, and they're all connecting here and there somewhere along the line because they're not all hiding in their closet at home doing it. They're doing it as a group, and when you do cocaine and other illicit drugs, it does things to your mind and it does make you act out sexually and do very inappropriate sexual conduct. And then you don't have the capacity to really use your brain like you're supposed to, and that's why you end up with these kids, and that's why you end up doing all these things. And so Hollywood, Hollywood is just like that city in the Bible, that got destroyed, Sodom and Gomorrah, because that's what's going on in Hollywood. Hollywood is a Sodom and Gomorrah, just like Las Vegas.
Yeah.
They go hand in hand. Las Vegas and Hollywood are brother and sister, and all the stuff that's going on in both places is nothing but a bunch of crazy sin, drugs, and people destroying people.
Yeah. Have you all heard of Star Island?
It sounds familiar, very familiar.
It's in Miami area, I think. It's maybe right off of Biscayne Bay. It's a man-made island that only super rich people live on. I think it's about 43 square miles or something, but there's a causeway built, you can drive to it, but it's a gated community. The cheapest mansion on that island, I think, is $20 million.
Wow.
So it's just a bunch of super rich people that live there. And P. Diddy, first he had one mansion there, but that wasn't enough for him. So he also bought the one next door to him, so he could have bigger parties. That's amazing to me, And that's where a lot of them, allegedly, there's underground tunnels that go from one to the other. And I don't know. It's interesting.
Well, I can't wait to see what happens in these trials. It's going to be very interesting.
It's going to be interesting, yeah. Do you think there's any chance at all that he may be able to get out of this?
Not at all. No.
No.
Right. I hope you're right. Yeah. Yeah. Look, it's sounding a lot like Jeffrey Epstein, isn't it? You know?
This has become as big as the whole Epstein thing, but honestly, I believe that over time it could be even bigger.
You may be right.
He was probably buddies with Epstein.
No
Yeah.
kidding.
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
sure that
it seems that,
they cross paths, you know. People like this, they cross paths.
yeah, yeah. And not always accidentally, you know?
Yeah, it becomes like a network, and they all start networking with each other because they know he can get this, and then he can get that, and different people getting different things, and then they start networking with each other, you know, and it becomes it's a spider web, you know,
Yeah.
web. That's
Look
what
at
it
all the big
dark
names
web.
that are associated with Epstein, you know? Trump has been shown with pictures of him. I think several presidents have been, you know, known to be with him. And I mean, that doesn't mean necessarily they were involved with all that stuff, but you can't help but wonder, you know?
Well, people with money and power, they want to connect with other people with money and power, but they're not always going to do their crimes with those other people that have money and power. They just need they want the camaraderie of the money and the power and people to see them with these people because
Yeah,
it's publicity to be standing next to Donald Trump. I mean, he was a president. You know, that looks good on you. But
yeah,
does Donald know what you're doing? Maybe not, probably not. You
yeah,
know, and so does that make Donald guilty because he associated with you because you had money and you were in position? You know, because like Oprah Winfrey said one time years ago on one of her shows, she says, poor people will stay poor. You look at their fingers, you look at their hands, you can tell that they're hard workers. So they will never escalate and move up because they are hard, they work. Rich people are well manicured and well taken care of. And so the rich people don't want to talk to the people down here. They want to talk to the people right here. So, you know, some people get lucky enough to do whatever they do and get up there and then become well manicured. But if you're not up there, they aren't going to reach down to your level. They
right.
don't come down to us poor men. You
Yeah,
know, we have to fight to get up there. But do we really want to be up there? I don't. There's some of them I don't want. I'm right good down here.
yeah, yeah.
I don't need to be up there with all those rich people. Yeah, I'd like some of what they got, but you know what? I'm happy with what I have, you know. And yeah, I do have working hands, you know, and so but
That's me. You know, I'm a poor man by a lot of people's standards, but, you know, I have everything I need and some things that I don't even need, you know? So
no.
I'm good. And nobody's trying to kill me as far as I know.
Just don't get rich and famous because
Oh, yeah.
you may be a mark for somebody then.
Yeah.
There are just so many downsides to being rich and famous as well. I'm good where I'm at.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you think will happen to all Diddy's money? Do you think his kids will end up with it? Do you think he's got it protected in overseas accounts or what?
I I, I actually that's actually a good theory. I think he has um money stored in different places, uh, uh possibly around the world, but definitely in a bunch of different places. I do believe that.
I'd say you're right. And he has, I think, seven kids altogether, I think, adults. So they probably have a lot, he's probably got a lot of it in their names, in their bank accounts, I would imagine.
Well, if they decide to look and see if he's paid his taxes, which he may not have because he's a criminal, and they find that there was illegal gains, they can put a freeze on anything that he has in his name and stuff until they figure that out. Because if anything was made, you know, illegally, whether it was from drugs or the transporting of minors and trafficking, then they can put a seize on everything that is in his name and that he has. And they, who knows, it's possible because they are his children and they are linked to him, that they might be able to come up with a way to reach out and get them, as
Yeah.
far as, you attained this from your dad because you're only an accountant and you have this $10 million home. Doesn't work that way. You know what I mean? And they might see things like that and be like, okay, this is, that's another way of laundering your money by giving it to your family, and putting it through that way. So that may come to take a role too, because you got to think. I mean, all his money, was it from his singing and his fame, or is some of it from the other stuff? And if
Yeah.
it is, they're going to put a freeze.
Yeah. And I'm sure he has a lot of investments, who knows how many companies he may own. And
You know,
so that will be interesting also. Of course, I'm sure his legal fees are going to be atrocious.
if he was willing to pay 50 million to bail out, can you imagine what he's paying those attorneys?
Yeah.
I wish I was his attorney.
He probably spent that much on his parties, would you think?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's chump change for him.
It's just really sad when you think about it, that you become successful and you just throw everything away because you're stupid. Just think what he could have done with all that money. Think of all the schools he could have built in Africa, and the people he could have helped. And the resource centers for teenagers. They could have been built in communities everywhere, and all the wonderful things he could have done with his money. You see, if I had that kind of money, that's what I would do. I would build in Africa, and I would put up community centers, and I put up places for addicts, and all the things that I could do that would give people the resources to change their lives and be something with their lives, instead of him being Mr. I'm famous and I want to party and destroy everybody. It's like, it kind of makes you angry, because it's like, we were put here, I was put here to continue the work that Jesus Christ came here to do by helping people and doing for people as much as I can and where I can. And then these other people come here and they're gifted with this wonderful fame and fortune and all this money, and then they just piss it away.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
tough.
That's a big thing I have with all the billionaires of the world. They could feed all the hungry people, home all the homeless people if they wanted to.
Yeah, yeah. And I noticed it's us people that are, I mean, I'm not dirt poor. I'm not middle class, I'm in between there of being, but if I had the resources and I had the money, I'd want to do those things and I would do those things. So I do the things that I can do with what I have. But if I had more, I could do more. And
Yeah.
so it's frustrating when you see somebody get all this stuff and then, you know, it's just not right. I get frustrated when I see it. It frustrates me when I see these rich people squandering their money and acting fool because they're special and they got money, and hey, I'm better than you. Gooder, that's not even a word. I'm better than you, and the thing is nobody's better. When you were born, guess what you had that I had? Nothing. You didn't
Nothing.
have no clothes. You didn't have nothing. You were born just a body, you know, and we're all born that way. And some of us get blessed with a great life with lots of opportunities, and some of us fight for every opportunity we get. And he, I think, got blessed over and over and over, because I don't think he's not a very good looking guy. And I think his music sucks, in my personal.
Yeah, I do too. I'm not a fan.
I've
So,
never heard anything from him ever, and I will never listen to anything from him ever.
you know, and
Yeah.
so the only reason I've ever heard any of his music is because I have kids and they've listened to the stuff.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I would have never heard it. I listen to Christian music, and I listen to oldies, and stuff like that, and the stuff from the 70s and 80s. But I don't listen to the stuff. I just know. I just not. I don't know, but I hope that some good comes out of this. you know, and somehow people get what they deserve from what he did to them. And when they get what they deserve, that they think about the other people out there that are struggling with the same situation that they were put in and reach out to them.
Yeah.
That's what it's about, is one hand grabbing another.
I would like to see something good come out of it. You know, it doesn't look like anything is right now. It's just a big Pandora's box that's opening and nothing but evil and stench is coming out of it. So we will see, huh? We will see.
Yep.
I think he's done. I don't see him ever being a free man again. He's not coming out.
I hope you're right. I hope you're right. Well, folks, we have killed an hour. We have talked a lot, and we have met here and we done good, I think. Thank you, Julie, and thank you, Mahfouz, for showing up. I hope you come back again next week, and we will have the cousin of Chanel Banks. Her name is Danielle Tori Singh. She was the cousin that did all the interviews about when Chanel was missing, allegedly.
Yeah.
So she's agreed to come on the show and tell her story. And she obviously doesn't agree with everything the media has said. And she doesn't even agree with everything we said.
And that's okay because we all have opinions.
But anyway, I look forward to that. And thank you both again. And do you have any last comments before we go?
Nope.
Hopefully, sorry.
I'll be here next week. Go ahead, Mafusa.
Yeah, so hopefully Diddy stays behind bars for the rest of his life. Hopefully he rots in prison. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say on the case. But it was very nice meeting the both of you, and I look forward to speaking with the cousin of Chanel Banks next week.
Yes, that would be great.
All right. Mahfouz, Julie, have a great weekend, a great week. See you next time.
Okay, guys. See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.